sorry about the changes that we had to take this evening, but Kelvin is ill. The guy that runs the barber shop where we're supposed to be at. But thankfully, we right next door. And thankfully, we pretty much equipped to carry on. We hope that people here from outside decide to come on in because we have some very important things to discuss tonight. We're going to start off with prayer. I ask my wife to come up and lead us in prayer. Pastor Cheryl.
Father God, we come before your presence with thanksgiving, Lord. We thank you for keeping us. We thank you for your protection through this day. We thank you for every provision that you have made for us, God. We give you glory. We give you the honor, for you are all power. You are all knowing. And you are God, and we thank you for that. Father, we ask that you would come in the midst of this forum at this time, Lord God. We ask you that you would give us knowledge, and not just any knowledge, but the knowledge of God, Lord. For we know that you are able to do all things, and we know that there is no failure in you. And we just invite you in right now, Lord God, to come in and to minister unto us, Father, as we come in and discuss these troubling things of this land. And help us as your children to know what part we play, Lord God, and what it is that you would have us to do. In your name we give praise, glory, and honor. Amen.
Amen. All right. How many of you have electronic devices? How many of you can use Facebook on your phone? 9 at a time. Okay, I want you to use your electronic devices while we're in this thing, and so you can spread the word what we're doing. That makes sense to you?
Yeah.
So we got electronic devices, so we're going to use them. We're going to briefly, I'm going to ask a question. If you have a question, you can do so. If you ain't got a big mouth, here the microphone is. Please come to the microphone and feel free to grab it and speak or ask a question. But we're going to start here. And I want to ask you a question first. And I want you to tell me the answer truthfully. I want you to tell me why. Oh, matter of fact, I'm going to ask you a question. Are you tired of things being the way they are? You know, like all this shooting, murder, mayhem. You know, and I ain't talking about just the police shooting. We killing up more of one another than the police is.
Yes.
You know, and so I'm considering all of that. So I want you to answer one by one. What's your answer and why? Don't be afraid. This is a forum. There ain't no right or wrong answer. You speak loud and come to the microphone, either one you want.
Well, my answer to the question is yes, I am tired of the shootings and the killings.
Just turn it around towards her. Just follow her, brother.
Don't worry about looking at the camera.
Turn this way. Okay.
You facing the camera, not here.
Just talk to my baby. Don't even worry about him.
Okay. Yes is my answer. Yes, I'm tired of the shootings. I'm tired of the killings. I'm tired of the danger in the neighborhood. I'm tired of people feeling like it's okay to do. I'm tired of them feeling like it's necessary to do. I'm tired of it being around us because I know it doesn't have to be.
Okay, and your name is?
And my name is Sister Delina Ward of the House of Prayer Ministries.
Okay. I ask that because in taking a stand, it's very important for you to not be afraid to say who you are. Okay. Next person, please.
is Dr. John Dew Jr. I'm professor and teacher in the Cleveland Public School Systems. Yes, I'm sick and tired of the negativity. I'm tired of the lack of respect, no moral values, because there's no morals. That's why these kids are hurting and killing each other. They think it's the greatest thing. Negative impact, lack of a male role model, lack of a good home, lack of God in their lives. And I'm tired of it. And I'm here to try to do something about it.
Thank you. Next person, turn the volume up a little bit on that one. What's that lady name right there?
I'm Sister Stephanie Armstrong, and my answer is yes. I am tired of the violence and the killing and the shooting. Tired of feeling like one out of a million of people that seem to be tired of it. It seems like nobody else is responding to it by way of taking care of their own household, or their own children, or the people that are around them, and saying no to what they're doing and telling them to stop. It seems like everybody's just peeking through their window and just going on their way because they're used to it, they're desensitized to it, and they don't seem to want to do anything about it. And it happens on my street almost every other day as far as shooting. I might wake up the next day and hear on the news that someone on my street, down the street, around the corner from me has gotten shot and killed. And I don't know, other than to pray, which is something that I do constantly, and intercede for my street and my neighborhood, and talk to people about it, and the young people that I see, and calling the police if you hear something. And so many people get so used to hearing it, it's like, why bother? Because even when you call them, you don't necessarily hear them come. You hear them come to give tickets, but when they're shooting and other things going on, you don't hear them necessarily respond, or they respond so long after whatever was going on has already happened and ceased at that point. And I'm tired of that too.
All right, thank you. On leave, Brother Johnson. And we thank Brother Johnson for operating the video for us tonight.
Thank you.
Can we give him a hand? Because I sure can't be over there and over here too.
My name is James Johnson. To say I'm tired of the killing is an understatement. It's been going on all my life. It seems like it's done escalated from inner city to out to the suburbs. It just don't spread. It don't seem like there's no end to it. There's always something, there's always an excuse. It's like you start a new year, you start over the count, and the counts just keep getting higher and higher each year. And you just don't know what to say. Going to church, they pray, and the police are shooting, and if the cops say stop, halt, you don't keep running. You don't expect not to get shot or something. Not doing what the police say is tantamount to something bad happened to you.
Yeah, most cases.
But there are a lot of different sides to the issue. I understand that. Everybody has their opinion. And I don't know. There's so many sides to it. There's not a right and wrong answer to the issue, because everybody's opinion is different. So I don't know what to say. But at least as a start, you're doing something. To sit here and just twiddle your thumbs and not, at least you're trying, making the effort. So I have to commend you for that.
Thank you, Brother Johnson. Now, Reef, you have something to say here?
Oh, I thought yeah, I do. say. My name is Pastor Cheryl Thompson. Yes, I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it. However, it's almost like there's not actually crimes being done. People are concerned, like you were saying, about the police doing this and doing that. But actually, after a while, it's like the police ain't doing it. It's the people that do it. Because if we took care, like everybody have said, of our home and our situation and our people, the police wouldn't have to do that.
That's right.
Because we would have that under control. Then there would be some injustices then. When the police would step in and do something, it would be looked at as an injustice. But at this point, with so many people killing each other and we killing each other off like flies, what the police doing almost don't seem like an injustice. It seemed like that would be the next phase of it. Because too, like we said, there's so many sides, and I know we don't want to go this far, but there's so many sides to it, and we have to understand these cops are scared too.
That's right.
You know, so I know we want to think of them as some kind of Superman, but they're not. They're just regular people who put on the uniform, who trying to do something about it, and they scared. So, you know, it's almost like we doing an injustice to our own selves, more so than they doing us an injustice. And that's why so many of our children are getting shot down by them, because they're afraid of them and because you haven't done anything with your child.
Amen.
So that's what happens. I mean, that's just the flip of the coin. That's what happens. When you can't run them, when you can't do nothing with them, when you can't control them, when you can't tell them what to do, when you can't make them an upstanding citizen for whatever reason, nobody else is going to either. They're going to treat them the way they act. And unfortunately, they acting like they acting criminal. So that's my thought.
Thank you.
Question: how police officers could have allowed a chase to go on for 25 minutes. They question why 13 officers fired their guns and why they fired 137 rounds into a car where no weapon was found. All day long. Oh, I'm thinking, you know, why did this happen? But we will find out why. We will find out why. I promise you, we will find out why. The chase started when a Cleveland police officer reported someone fired a gun outside police headquarters downtown. The chase ended in the parking lot of Heritage Middle School in East Cleveland, when a man and woman's car crashed into a Cleveland police car. How that led to 137 shots being fired by Cleveland police officers, including bullets into their own police cars, isn't known. Both cars have been towed and they will be processed.
Okay, I want to stop right there. The first thing I want to talk about is policing the community and policing the police. What do I mean? Policing the community starts with an individual person having some morals about themselves, having a standard for themselves, having morals and standards about where they live at, and having a sense of belonging, having a sense of security. We've been told so long that we don't belong, and we tell each other so much that we don't belong. I remember as a child, my folks telling me that I was smart, but then throwing in that, but you're black, you can only go so far. And that sounds like a little innocent statement, but it goes deep to the heart of a child that grew up to a man and somebody else. And so, even when he go to buy a car, he go to look at a clunker because he thinks he can only go so far. He go to look at a house, he can only go so far. Either that, he got $2 and want $1 million house. Policing is checking things and not taking what folks say or teach you or write at face value, but investigating it to find out for yourself. Sometimes investigating is trying it. And if it don't work, I can just keep on doing it. I don't care if it's in church or it's in school. If it ain't working, it's foolish to keep doing it. You know, if you've been doing it 5 years, if it don't work, if you're doing 10 years, it don't work. It don't take nothing that long to work. That's just telling you that it don't work. And so you need to do something else to make something work. And so that is policing ourselves and policing our community. If a man take care of his car, for instance, he don't want nobody hitting it, he don't want nobody opening no doors on it, he don't want nobody eating in it, and if you do, he wants you to take your junk with you when you get out. Okay? He don't want to be involved in no crime with it. And if he take care of it. And if he take care of it with his own earned money, that's the difference. But when you get money, free money, however you get it free, it ain't the same. But when you spend it, you ain't got no attachment to it. You know, it ain't got no value to you. And so you don't, if something happened to it, you know, so a home, if you take care of your home, if you own it, you take care of it, then it brings, now you're proud because you took care of it. And now, because you take care of yours, you're proud of yours, you looking over to your neighbors. And you watching out and you realize that whatever happens to your neighbor affects what goes on at your house. On both sides, in front of you, behind you. So you begin to watch out and take notice. Your neighbor's child fall down on the ground, you right there to catch him. Or you saw him, and you right there. And that's like a positive disease, if you will, that it is catching. Just like doing the negative stuff have caught. And it has spread like wildfire.
So, how do, what you're saying, I mean, everybody here feel that way. That's why they're here. You know, so, but how do, I guess my dilemma with this, how do you get this message to the people who need to hear this message? You know, but they ain't gonna really get on YouTube to listen to it because you ain't, you know, talking about kill the police and all of that, so they really ain't gonna want to listen to it.
Well, because, for instance, I started off by asking everybody here who had electronic device. You should start right there. If you use them, it might be on, you might have on one Facebook friend that look at yours and another one, but the more you do it, the more it will happen. But if you give up and stop trying, then it don't. If you don't use what resources that you do have to make a difference. Now we use all these resources. I see people flip their phone out and their video on some stupid so quick. And in 15 minutes, they got 100 people that put messages on it.
It's viral.
Mm-hmm. But if you put on there, clean your yard up and you might get an award, you know, ain't nobody gonna even like it. You know, or you put on that, go to the school and see what they're doing with your kids. Ain't nobody gonna like that. They gonna like it when you say, such and such a mama went up to the school to jump on the teacher.
Yeah.
Now you got another 1,000 hits. And you got people. And you got a lot of our activist groups, as my wife say, they're agitators. Instead of trying to soothe the problem or really bring some understanding and resolve the situation, it's like pump somebody up, like an instigator. You know, like get people riled up to fight and cause a ruckus. What you got? You got some more folks in jail.
Yep.
Some more folks dead. You know, and we don't realize that. We jump on that. We're conditioned to foolishness. You know, and because we who are claiming that we are not, we participate in that. We say that and we say we tired, but almost every time we have opportunity to make a positive difference, well, look around you. I mean, you see, it's just you here. Now, more than 1,000 people got the message. I mean, it's been on YouTube, it's been on Facebook, it's been on Twitter, it's been on radio. And it's been people that called and said they were coming. Been people said they want to do this. But if I said we're going to have a candlelight vigil out here tonight, I'm sure I have 1,000 people out here. I can say that we're going to meet here tonight so we can be at the Justice Center, you know, so that we can tell them what we want them to do. You know, we'll be there. Because that's what we're conditioned to. Basically, we're conditioned to acting food. And we're conditioned to something that may have used to work, but don't work anymore. I honor Dr. Martin Luther King for his marches. I honor Malcolm X for his causes. And I do believe they did some good for that time. But I believe for this time, we have different kind of battle. Because the battle have escalated. I'm an ex-military man. Our weapons had to keep progressing because the enemy weapons keep progressing. Our knowledge had to keep progressing. Our energy level had to keep progressing. You know. And we are at that state right now. We're stuck when we need to be progressing. What we call progressing is moving over here saying we progress, but not having really progressed. We're still in the same spot saying that we progress. You know, we still saying we shall overcome. We ought not be still saying that. We ought to be at a place that we have overcome now. And truly we have. But we have to start behaving like that. And just like in the military, I'm from Black Ops, it don't take a few to make the difference. Take a few that's true to the cause. A few true fighters. And when I mean fighters, I don't mean physical fight, you know, but if it comes down to it. Today, we're in a paper fight. Now, you drive down the street and you flying, and they pull you over, they're going to give you a ticket. You don't pull over, you won't possibly get this. Okay, so the way this works, if you give me a ticket and I see you messing up, I slap you with a ticket too. ticket is used through the court system. Because when I slap you with a ticket too, just like the next time I went down 35, I remember I got the ticket for going 75. Okay? And I slap you with a ticket too. And the next time you get to a place like that, you remember that it cost you $10,000? Remember it cost you $100,000? Remember it cost you lose your job? Okay. Remember it caused you to lose your elected office? And remember it caused your kids to get put out of that best school that they was in, Ivy League? So, our problem is we don't know how to fight back because we don't know how to deal with the fight we got from within first, without policing ourselves. Then we want to blame police for everything.
Yeah.
If we was to police ourselves, then we have people qualified in our community to be our own police officers that are part of our tribunal. You see, your policemen are supposed to be part of your tribe. But if you let outsiders set the standard for your tribe, then you don't meet the standard. Then when the policemen come in, they come in because they need a job. And not to talk about the police, most police are people who have been bullied when they was coming up. They got issues, just like you got issues. And can't nobody tell them don't bring them to the job. You can't just lay your life down over here just because you can't work. You know, you can't lay the argument that he had with his wife because he came to work. Me and my wife, we have a misunderstanding. I can't think about nothing but that all day till I get it straight. I don't care how many things I try to do, that keep coming up. So that keep coming up. And so it's an effect on them. Some people, police officers, try to do the right thing. Then when they come over here, you got some JoJo you elected, they're telling them they can't do that. And so he either get with the crowd or either quit the force. Because every time he come around and try to be, because I see some police officers that come around and try to just talk to some people and say, well, don't do this. And they cuss them out and everything else. Want to jump on them all up in their face. And they need to call a white officer to come up. And all of a sudden, yes sir, officer. Yes sir. Now he done cuffed this black man out to live over there on Parkinson. That's on the force. They tried to give him a break. He didn't cuss him out. Told him he gonna whoop him and everything else. They're policing ourselves, irrespecting our brothers that's on the force too. You know. And then, once we've done that, then you can stand up. Then you can stand up. Then you don't have no reason to be scared. You ain't scared because they might have a ticket I ain't paid from 20 years ago, 10 years ago. You ain't scared because I got a record. So what? You got a record. Who ain't got a record?
Well, these days, everybody does.
Okay? You got a record of something. Okay? But you bigger than your record. You didn't make the record. Other folk made it. Folk have a tendency to say anything or write anything they want to about you. And we have a tendency to be conditioned to believe it. Okay? Slave mentality. Okay? So, but once we begin to police that thing, now you back in charge. can go tell your elected official, just like all these people, starting with East Cleveland Police, East Cleveland Mayor, all this stuff. You notice it did happen in their jurisdiction, right? You do know that Cleveland City Codes of Operation say that they ain't supposed to be in that jurisdiction, right?
Yep. Can't cross the line
Okay?
to another county or a city.
They had to get permission. They didn't get no permission. Okay? What they supposed to did was call East Cleveland. If somebody was calling, then they take over the chase from there.
Yep. Exactly.
Okay? And so we're running around talking about somebody need to do something. You know who that somebody is? Every person that says somebody needs to do something. They're the one that needs to do it. And do I mean do something violent? No, I don't. Let me clear that up. I don't mean to do nothing violent, nothing illegal. I'm not an advocate of that. Okay? But I do mean fight fire with fire. Okay. I'm going to turn you to the screen here. Well, I want you to...
You gotta turn the TV on. Okay.
Okay. I was talking too long. I want you to pay close attention.
No gun and no bullet casings were found in the man and woman's car. No bullet casings were found when the chase began downtown. No East Cleveland police officers were involved, but they are investigating because it happened in their city. And now, Chief McGrath is calling in federal investigators.
Okay. Now, just from listening to the news, not listening to what the news personnel is saying, but listening at what the Ohio Attorney General is saying, what the mayor is saying, what the police chief is saying, just listening at that, they're, even if they don't say the words, they're saying foul play. Okay? You hear no bullets, no guns, no cases.
No evidence.
Okay? They're saying how many cars they got?
13.
How many is supposed to be a city call for? Not more than 3, I believe. Okay? And so, I said all that this morning. I said all that to go here. These are our laws. Ain't nothing wrong with them. They work. You know how I know they work? Because they use them on you and me. And you know how else I know they work? Because I've used them on them. And so I know that God nor the legal system just didn't pick little bitty me and my little wife just to let us use the law, and we the only one that can use it. I know that ain't true. And so, can y'all see that? Okay, just read off what you, far as you can see.
What's the website?
Huh?
What's the website?
Oh, the website is http://codes.ohio.gov/ORC/29. Those are the crimes and procedures.
I have a suggestion. This roll is up.
Laptop.
All right, can everybody see it now? Okay. Okay. Now, read them out for me from where you are.
General provisions, homicide and assault, kidnapping and extortion, sex offenses, arson and related offenses, robbery, burglary, trespass, and safe cracking, theft and fraud, gambling, offenses against the public peace, offenses against the family, offenses against justice and public administration, conspiracy, attempt and complicity, weapons control, corrupt activity, drug offenses, miscellaneous offenses, penalties and sentencing, victims' rights.
Okay. Notice that on there, it don't have no particular people that next to it. No particular race, no particular entity, right? Okay. No particular religion. Okay. No, you can't read that one, but it's talking about, I'm going to tell you what it's talking about. It's talking about these are general provisions provided for force, which means violence, compulsion, or constraint physically exerted by any means upon or against another person or thing. Okay? Now, it says by any other person, not by, just by police. No, police are not excluded, lawyers not excluded, the president not excluded, the mayor not excluded, the police commander not excluded. There is no law that provides for them sanction for breaking these laws. Okay? If you thought that, I want you to research it for yourself. There is no law that provides sanction. Now they have this unwritten mess that they made up. That's why it ain't written, that they got sanctioned. But they don't. Y'all heard of that before? That they got sanctioned? Okay? Back to these crimes. And which one do you think applied to these situations? In this particular case, involving these murders.
Definitely offenses against the public peace, it's offenses against the family. It's even probably offenses against conspiracy.
Huh? Okay.
I'm sure it should be something in miscellaneous offenses.
Okay. Where you see the violent victim, I see it.
The last one.
There it is. Crime mean any of the following. Those first list of rows you read, assault, somebody said crime against public peace. Okay, these are all these that are covered. So, if I were to get arraigned today and go downtown, if they couldn't convict me, they couldn't just pin down one of these, they would charge me with each and every one of these. That's why you might have 31 counts. You did one thing, 31 count. If I can't get you for one, I'm going to get you for the other one. And I might end up getting you for all of them. Okay? So then, if I'm the police officer and you, the victim of the crime, then how would you use these to give me a ticket?
You have to bring them up on the same terms that they try to track somebody else.
Okay? And so, have you heard of anybody bringing any charges?
No,
No, just
the
civil
civil
suit.
suit, yeah.
Huh?
Just the civil suit as far as I've heard.
But
Regarding that case.
you don't know nobody have actually filed any, they just talk about it. Okay? That's what we do.
Now, they said they filed, that the civil suit has been filed. That's what they said on the news.
Okay? Okay, just say that it had been filed. Okay? Your car, most people's cars run off of gas, got a battery, because it's an internal combustion system. Our legal system is an internal combustion system. It runs off how much fire and fuel that it can get. So if one person did file something, that ain't very much fuel. So then it won't cause very much fire because it won't ruckus very many people down there. And so that fire very easily get put out. Usually the first one to get put out by the victim family because they get scared. Because the first thing they say, have you ever been arrested before? And they tell that lawyer, I ain't coming back down here. Because they say it in a way that if you have, we're going to get you again. Okay? And then that comes up under breaking law again. Okay? Intimidation. I think you said that? Intimidation. And so, all this stuff here, now you come down with some more. All this stuff that happened incite violence. Now, unfortunately, just like they incite violence, most of our activist groups do the same. Because they got resources at hand that they don't know about, but they refuse to find out about. No, mostly because they get grant money from the same people who against you. And so, if I want to keep getting your grant money, I can't step on your toes. Okay? So even though I might tell them, we're going to get, I'm huffing and puffing. Because when we get to the line, wait, hold on. We're coming back tomorrow, and we're going to really do it. So, back to policing ourselves again. Most of our brothers and sisters that participate in this are unemployed. So therefore, they're not productive citizens. So in order to be able to be effective, you need to be productive. And you need to own where you live. You need to own what you drive. You need to have bought the clothes you put on your own back and the food that you put in your own mouth. That's what makes you effective. You are part of the police force. But if you don't act like it, then you can't be. You are part of the court system. But if you don't act like it, you can't be. The court system got a dress code. They won't never tell nobody. People run down to the court, they crowd the room, and then they can never go in. Because when it get crowded, the judge and everybody go back in the chambers and leave you out there. So you don't know what happened. But if you meet the dress code, you can go back there too. And they can't tell you can't. And if they do, they can't because you're not a part of the case. There's such a thing called a joinder that you can make yourself become a countersuit. You can countersuit both parties. You have to put stuff in writing. Going around talking about it, that don't work today. That's like begging my wife to feed me something to eat. I'm hungry. Please, just please feed me something to eat. I'm hungry. Would you please? You said you were going to feed me when we got married, but I'm hungry. You know, I was standing at the kitchen, I'm hungry, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. That's equivalent to what we do today. We say, do something, do something, do something, do something. They looking at you like you're a fool. Because you're the one that's supposed to be doing it. And the only reason they ain't, if you file a paper right now, you basically, you order people to do what they're supposed to do when you file the proper paper and when you wear the proper attire. You put on your suit and your tie and not your Mac Dad outfit and not your Hoochie Mama outfit. And you go down there to do business. You go to the police station and file charges to do business. Just like you do on your brothers. When your brothers and sisters, you married with them, you want to put them through the ring, you get all dressed up. You know, I don't mean y'all in particular, but I mean we as a people. We get all dressed up, and they'll even invite us back to the judge chamber then to do harm to one of our own. Because we meet the dress code. We ain't acting a fool. Men, pull your pants up, whip them around your ankles, and look like that you got some morals and some dignity. That's policing yourself, so you can police your community. Ain't nobody taking you serious going just because you marching. Your pants all down. Ain't nobody taking you serious, you know, just because you in the activist club or you got a membership with NAACP, or membership with the powerhouse, you know, and you ain't got no job. You know, you don't own nothing. You on the street or you living with your woman. You know, or the woman living with some fool man and leaving her children to the side. That's the stuff that we have to fix to empower us to fix these things like this.
That's for sure.
Anybody got an idea how many murders we've had since then? That wasn't done by the police? Okay. I count almost every day. Almost every day. So those are the ones we have to be concerned with. You can handle this. All you got to do is file a ticket. It's simple as that. Anybody got a question or comment? This is an open forum.
Well, I'll say one thing. The reason why we have a lot of decline, one, it took the black males out of the household, and it took her out of school.
Say that again, please.
It took the black males out of the household. It took her out of school. And that really hurt the community badly. Because I see kids, I have parents who are afraid of their own children. And I said, "Hey, you birth this child." They are in fear of their own kids. And I look at it, I said, I got two boys bigger than me, but they're not going to step to dad.
Well, part of this is that stuff I was talking about, putting your food in your own mouth that you earn. See, because once you let other people come into your household, then you gave control over to your household. Once food from somebody else came to your household, your dignity went out. Your kids might have didn't say nothing, they might have didn't know what it was.
Right, they didn't know.
You know, but all they know was, this ain't right. They sold said this ain't right. So then they respect the one who the food come from, even though they don't know what that is. You know? And that's why when they ain't got no respect for the daddy, usually he ain't at the house anyway. And the mama, they ain't got nothing for her. You know, you just mama. I mean, I heard young men calling their mama bees all the time. You know, guys on the street, let me go take this bee some money. And she just keep calling me. What are you talking about? I'm bee mama. She keep calling me. I want your son to bring you some dope money.
That's what I was going to say. You know, it goes back to, I think we both be standing up, we had something on film. You know, that's what it goes back to also. It's because it's just so much. I guess it's why I stutter and stumble, because I'll be thinking to say one thing, which then in my mind brings up something else. You know, it kind of just goes on and on. But that's one of those things. It's like when we came up, I mean, everything wasn't perfect. It was problems then. It was absentee fathers then and all of that same stuff. But why it didn't make such an impression, I believe, immediate impression, was because regardless of what went on, those parents, mothers, fathers, whatever was there, aunts, uncles, in some cases that helped raise kids, they kept a standard about themselves. Yeah. You know, if they had robbed a store and got some money, you're not bringing it here. It's as simple as that. We will just live off of these same beans we've been eating, and all of us going to thank God for the beans. We're going to eat these beans and live off of them until something happens. But I'm not going to take steak money from you knowing you just robbed somebody for it. You know, and that's what has happened. It's like parents now, they've just given up their hand of parentship, and whatever these kids want to do, however they want to do it, they letting that infiltrate into their house. Well, actually be the kids' house. And they just in it with them. You know, and that's the real problem. And again, along with these laws and stuff, absolutely, they're there. They do work when used right. However, when you got a bunch of people living a life like that, they ain't thinking about this. You know, and it's so much illegal activity in their immediate life. That's why they don't think about legal stuff, because they living under so much illegal stuff. So they don't even think to do nothing legal. You know, that's like me, a heroin addict, and I'm going to think, you know, we need to shut down all these heroin users. That's what we need to do. Why would I think that? Heroin is who I am. With them, violence, you know, sexual abuse, spousal abuse, that's the life they lead. Everything about them is criminal. So they would not look or think to go to something of legalities, that's the word, in order to get anything fixed. They brain can't even go that far. It don't work that way. You know, and it's just like I was saying, and that's just the real problem. Just parents, I guess it's been a product that happened, like that process stuff. It happened over time, and with each generation, with each parent got a little more lenient and a little more lenient and a little more lenient. And next thing you know, now they ain't got no hold at all. No hold at all. And it's so sad because, and I'm not going to take up the whole time, but it's so sad because they don't see and realize how young it starts. I see kids, I was just talking about one, my cousin, kid 3 years old, you know, and snapping your neck and talking to me with attitude. You know, kicking at people. And they, for some reason, think, and I think a lot of it, they think that they need to have this attitude in order to make it in the world today, you know, because it's a hard world out here. So you can't soften them up too much. You got to let them be kind of tough and hard. You know, but then I go back to that God thing. They ain't teaching them God either.
Yep.
No God in their life whatsoever. And you got to have it. I'm sorry. It just don't work. And it ain't no old cliche that you got to go to church. Because I'm a pastor, but I say this, you ain't got to go to church. But sit them down and teach them about God then in your home.
Amen. It's still your responsibility.
Open that word and teach them something. They ain't got to go to church for it.
All right.
Because my connection with God didn't start at church first. It started at home first.
All right.
We had to say, now that I lay me down and sleep, I pray the Lord my soul to keep. You know? That's where the connection started, but none whatsoever. So, I didn't mean to say all that, Pastor.
That's all right.
We up against something crazy here.
We can
It's
win.
crazy.
We can win. We can win.
All right.
Hi. I just had to come back from behind the cameras because it touched on a lot of different points. And from my perspective, which is different from everybody else's, but I see part of it as cause and effect. Part of the cause and effect I see when a parent is teaching a little kid to do something that she wants him to do, and she'll say, I'm going to call a po-po if you don't do what I tell you to do. So this little kid is growing up 3-4 years old, that the po-po is going to come take him out the house. The po-po is going to come take his toys. Because this is how the parent is raising the kid, to put fear in him. And then when that kid gets 17, 18, and he's out with his friends and the cop's telling him to stop to do something, and he do something stupid, and the cop is like, what'd you do that for? I just told you to stop. And he don't understand, the cop is not understanding, why did you do that? It was stupid. But he doesn't know how that kid was raised in that household. Another situation I see is...
excuse me just a minute. I want to inject that. That's because they're not from our tribunal.
Okay.
Because if they were from our tribe, they know how we raise in our community. You know, but again, we ain't keeping nobody qualified to be police in our tribe.
Okay, I understand that. Another issue I see is we have something in the laws where you get arrested, but then you can get it's not probation, you get bail. We have a situation where the cops catch you, but somebody in the family comes take you back out until it's time for your court date. But at some point, if the same person is getting this person out on bail and they turn around and break the bail, at some point it's time for the system to say, you can't take this person out anymore. But it's not happening. As long as they can put up bail, I mean, if you couldn't keep this kid at 4, 5, 6-year-old when he become 18, you're not going. What judge can say that you're gonna put him out on bail and be responsible that he's not going to be out past 11 or 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock, whatever the bail sets. So it's up to the court system to look at the individuals that they're releasing them to say, you haven't shown where you was able to take this person, out of jail, where we trying to keep him away from the rest of the citizens and the corruption that he's causing, to say that you're able to do that and you're in your 80s, that you're going to be able to keep this kid off the streets until his court date. So it's up to the people, us, I mean, along with the issues that we have with the cop shooting, to say to the people also, you can't keep this kid, don't be taking him out on bail if you can't, respect what the courts set for that.
Yeah, and if you control him, he wouldn't be in there to need bail.
And understand also that in doing this, people put these officers' lives in danger. And so they, as Pastor said already, they're afraid. They people just like you. You know, somebody shooting at you, you got a gun, what you gonna do? If you think they finna shoot you, you know, the only difference here, they crossed the line. So they had a chance to not get shot.
Yeah.
And so, but they kept going and shot them people. If they thought they was about to get shot, like some of the police officers said, they was in fear for their life.
Yeah.
So when you got there to the line, you was home free. All you had to do is stop. Okay? And so that becomes negligent homicide at least.
Yep.
Okay?
Premeditated.
That becomes the cause for all this marching and stuff. You know, interfering with public peace and public trust. But understand that these officers didn't create this scenario by themselves. It's important that we understand that if we want to stop these kind of things from happening.
Right.
Amen.
You know, we all have created this scenario. And it takes us all to undo it, to make it right. Now, we got here, this is, let me come up this second. Attorney General Mike DeWayne, what do you say? Okay? Just take the impact. This is a public corruption, but it's another one on here just file a regular complaint, a formal complaint. And he do answer his complaints, because I've used it. And he sent me a formal letter back. You know, and give me formal updates on it. And I check, I don't just because he wrote me a letter, I don't be just believing the letter. I investigate to see if you're really doing what you're telling me you're doing. Okay? And I found him to be doing that. And in fact, I'm surprised that he hadn't already taken actions, because the sheriff department, the county government, law officials, they come under his chain of command. So he could have actually ordered them, or he could have indicted them himself in grand jury, Ohio grand jury. And so but I talk about that internal combustion engine. It takes a lot of these from the people who complain to give the fuel and momentum to do this. Because if he step up trying to do this without that, then he can rest assured that he gonna wind up in a scandal. Somebody gonna find some girl that he got a baby with when he's 16, or when he smoked marijuana, when he's 2, something. And it's gonna be a corruption against him to get him removed. But at least they make sure that he don't get reelected. Okay, so that's why a lot of people who would do their job, they won't. Because they know that these people talking about do this, they ain't gonna be behind them. They just get them the paper, just get them the fuel to fight with. Now he's the only one that got on his site that you can file a police report on his site. The county government and the city government, they got down there you can file, a suggestion box for a complaint. You can file one for domestic violence against your spouses, but they ain't got nothing for an affidavit for you to file charges against nobody else that's within the system. So you got to go downtown. So how many black folks going downtown? We won't go. But if I'm mad for my neighbor, I'll go on him. I get up early, be down there at 8 o'clock, or you got to be down there from 8 to 12 or something like that. Short time. Okay? We'll get up and go down there for that. And then there's a long line. They tell you what to write on the paper. You can make out your own affidavit, have to be sworn affidavit for a criminal report. You can report this crime. You don't have to be involved in it. you can report this crime with a formal police report by filing an affidavit. If everybody filed an affidavit, now, how much difference do you think that's going to make as opposed to the more or larger amount of people marching in front of the courthouse step? What do you think?
The pen is mightier than the sword.
Huh?
The pen is mightier than the sword.
The pen is mightier than the sword.
Yeah, okay, that's what I'm saying. Because that's the day that we're at now. Okay, the people who will fight for us. And I'm turning my mic off. I talked to judges. I talked to some of our black judges. We got a few good black judges. They terrified down there. And they know the black folk don't understand that they can't do nothing because we won't give them the fuel to do it with. Some have told me they gave people a break and they went and complained about the break they gave them. And then they had to go before the presiding judges over them to get chewed out for giving this person a break. Okay, but if he had the momentum, then when the presiding judge called him in, he got fuel. He can stand up, he ain't got to bow down. You know? And so after that, he just started doing what worked for him. I get paid and get promoted to the next position, go home. People keep saying, Commander, y'all know Commander, I've been knowing him since he's a young boy. And from the time he was a rookie, he said, Pastor, I want to be a police so I can make things better in my community. They got to be a police. I can't make nothing better. I want to be I think he said a corporal. I think that's how it was. Then when I get to be corporal, then I can make some changes. He worked night and day, go to school, and he got to be that. And see, he still wasn't in a position to make changes. Then he got to be a sergeant. Still wasn't in a position. If I can be a lieutenant, I can make some changes. Then, but now he's a commander. And says, Pastor, I had to wipe my back. You know. And so, we have to give him the momentum to do the thing that's right. Otherwise, he can just be a politician.
And he's gonna end up dead.
Yeah. I mean, it's been people, I used to be a policeman chaplain. I had detectives tell me they worry about their own partner shooting them in the head.
That's right.
No. I'm going to turn my mic back on now. I didn't want that everywhere. Okay? So, we do have people who are willing to stand up if we stand up with them. They look like cowards because they downtown, you know, and they're afraid to come out to our event because they know one of our black brothers might shoot them because he gave them the time that he was forced to give them. Yeah. You know, when he would have given them a break, but he was forced because he didn't have the momentum. No. And so we give them the momentum when we do this. We be in court and we dress the part. You dress the part. You don't let go downtown. You dress the part. Ain't nobody gonna tell you that you got to meet the goal. Just like here. Ain't nobody telling nobody that you can write up a plain piece of paper and file an affidavit with it. But it's the law. Ain't nobody telling you that you ain't got to have a lawyer to plead your case. Because you go down there, most of them will tell you, oh, you got to have a lawyer. Did you know you can turn around and sue them? Because they just gave you legal advice and they wasn't a lawyer? Okay? But they'll tell you that you can come sue me giving you legal advice because I'm not a lawyer. the same one that tell you that. And so, when people get this information, I've been giving this information out to people for years. Nobody hardly do anything with it. But complain some more. And some people, when they come to me, I don't want to talk to them. I don't want you wasting up my time to get information that you ain't gonna do nothing with.
Yeah.
And why is that?
Why? What?
Why is you give them, they don't want to be involved? Why is that?
They want to know these things. Or they want to have it to say that I know this. I know about this, and I know about that. Sometimes they say, well, me and Pastor did this. You know, called the slave mentality. We're still conditioned to slavery because we are the gatekeeper now. We keep doing it to ourselves.
And not only that, it's because it's, you know, with black people, it has been for a long time. Black people are of the mind, they always want somebody to do it for them. You know, so even if they have the information, they still want somebody else to do it for them.
Well,
And when it comes time to, you know, getting it done, they don't like doing it themselves. They like it, they want somebody to do it for them. That's why they mostly always want a leader.
that's right.
So that they can have the leader to do the work. You know, that's what they see a leader as. They don't see a leader as a person to direct you on what to do. They see a leader as one to do the work. We gonna have it up, you know, we in it right now. You know, like you were saying, somebody need to do something. What they gonna do? They didn't do nothing. They didn't file the work. They didn't charge them. They didn't. So that's the problem.
I mean, like I said, Brother Art McCord with black on black crime and Brother Khalid with peace in the hood. I feel for them guys because this time they were standing up for people and then they get left behind out there by themselves.
Yeah.
Stuck on a limb. Going, sometimes getting arrested for trying to help somebody else and they ain't even there. That kind of stuff. That break a person's spirit. They just keep going and they just keep getting dogged, and the people, you the one dogged them because you don't want to put them out there on the front line and left them by themselves. You know, and we have to start understanding these things and understanding them, you know, and being supportive. That's the only thing they can get people to do is go to a candlelight visit. They can't get people to go and file a report because they'll be by themselves. No, they can't get people to file a case because they'll be by themselves. So they do what they can get them to do. I can get you to come to a march. I can get you to come to a protest and act fool. I can get you to get a bullhorn and holler about what you want. I can get you to sing, "We shall overcome." You know, but I can't get you to overcome.
We were saying why is it that the people don't? And it goes back to when I first met y'all and the first lesson y'all gave us. Know who you are. They don't know that they're a powerhouse. Their self-esteem is so shot that all they know is how you just make noise, be a slave. That's something that is very much reinforced in their lives over generations. And they don't know that they can say anything that will be of effect. But it is their responsibility to get to know it. And that's the other thing that they have to know too. And it comes from the few of us, like you said, that know it, to share it. That's your yard. You pick your trash up in your yard. But I can't say it to you if I don't do it in my own yard. You have to be able to see me doing it in my own yard, because then my life is my ministry, and my ministry is my life, and then I have validity, and you can see it. Yeah, when that lady do, she always keep her yard up. I gotta say that. So yeah, she right, you know, and I see some stuff starting to happen for her. She got some stuff growing over there in her yard now. But that's the only way it's going to change, because you ain't gonna have nobody having no back on what you saying either, because you just another mouth saying something to them.
That's right. I I mean, like today, we was on a radio station with Art McCoy in a roundtable discussion. And one of the things I noticed in that was people don't realize that people are in different places in their life, and we spend too much time arguing about who know the most and who don't know and who should be the leader. The thing is you know what you know, and you know what you know, and you know what you know.
Do it.
And so if you start from where you at, and you start from where you at, and you start from where you at, and then we'll all make the puzzle come together. But if we keep arguing, all we do is just keep talking. We get some more talking, a couple more hours of wasted time. You know, what would I say? Well, in 2 hours, we're going to fill out a petition. You know, like county corruption. How many of you been watching the county corruption? If you look on the Declaration of Independence that you got, it tells you that whenever one person in the government is corrupted, to replace the whole system of the government. And it says, who does it say the government is?
We the people.
It says we the people are the government, not the people in office. They are our employees, but they only your employees when you act like the executive. When you carry yourself like the executive. I talked to a lady today, I asked her a question, she's running for office. I said, did you not know that while you are a candidate, that now you become instantly empowered to do the same thing that you can do when you get in office while you're running? She said she already knew that, but I know she didn't. And so people running for office, and they don't even know what you're supposed to do in the office. I mean, we got Councilman Reed running around, you know, still looking out for the people. He always somewhere trying to pass some law somewhere else, a statewide law, when you've been hired to look after the people in Ward 2. So what he's doing is working on building him a career, because now he got a kid's butt to make up for all the time that he messing around and getting drunk. Okay? Because if he hadn't known, now the people who was arresting him were the same people who worked for him. But since he never found out what his job description and what his power was, he never knew that. Now, so some people work for you, and you're going to let them arrest you? Right. But if you don't know that, you will. But you're going to carry yourself so that they won't have no reason to in the first place.
Exactly.
You know, the judge that just got caught, DUI, and nobody filled out none of these papers on him. So since nobody filled out none of his papers on him, none of his colleagues filed dismissal for him, that means that the whole system is corrupt again, because it's their job to police that part of that system. And if it's all been on TV, okay, but we keep worrying about all these things, one thing, we get caught up on one thing when there's a whole bunch of things that make that one thing happen.
Right. And that's what I was saying, and that's why actually it comes to a point where there really is no injustice done. Because again, if we knew and understood who we were according to God, you know, then we would police ourselves. And then when or if the situation came where someone really did do an injustice to us, like I said, because if I'm beating my wife every day, okay, it really is no injustice done when somebody whacked me upside my head because of how I didn't police myself and carry myself. Now, when they get done back to me, that ain't no injustice. That's right. That's what's supposed to happen. You afflicting everybody, so now when you get afflicted, ain't no injustice done there. That's what's supposed to happen to you. And that's what the problem is. And if we really did police ourselves, then when injustice did come, I have no doubt that God would step in and he would help us to know what to do and to do it, that situation would get rectified. But because it ain't no injustice done, it don't quicken nobody to do that. Because, like you said, if you killing, the police killed one person this year or 3 people this year, and your neighborhood is shot 40 people this year, what's the injustice? He a cop. He supposed to be able to chase you down, and if you don't surrender, shoot you.
And
What's your excuse?
And half of them shot on accident because they were shooting at somebody else and
Right.
shot them.
So you just shot up the wrong folk too, on top of that.
And they have no remorse.
None.
You just took a life, so.
I mean,
Casualties of war. This is a war out here, baby. This is a casualty.
I mean, even we wasting time allowing people passing laws, trying to stop people from owning firearm. Firearm ain't never shot nobody. Either person who pull the trigger. Okay, and then the people who killing people with firearms, they get them illegal anyway.
Right.
And there was others, like at the white places, they do their massacre. They got legal papers for their gun.
They sure do.
So it still don't matter.
And so changing the law is a waste of time. But again, we sit up here and we hear them talking about on TV, making these ridiculous laws, and we sit up and do nothing. When all we got to do again, we got to use that pen that brother was talking about. It's powerful. Talking about it, we're going to have a vote on it. What do you need to vote for? All you need to do is file your petition to stop it with the court. If you go to the city meetings, don't go down there to talk. Go to take your paper, formally submit it. Don't go to say, I don't want y'all to do that. Go to say, here my form in writing. It's
You
against
have been
it.
served.
Okay? You do it. Now, the clincher is that all the people who claim to be poor, like all these people who are involved into this situation, they can file a civil suit for $10 because they consider to be poor. And since they poor, they ain't got nothing but time. They can research the law to win the case. Okay? So, I'm going to just take, how many bullets you say this was on here?
137.
137. This is 137. How many people it was? I mean, the people who did the shooting. How many was it?
13 cars. So that
Okay.
was like, it was 13 people that did the shooting. It was 50-something cars that chased them.
56.
Okay, now, between a couple of the activist groups, what would you say, just a guess of the number of people that was in the crowds altogether? Just around now, just guess.
What, the Caroline Visual?
County-line vigils, the protesting downtown. Just put a number to it. Just guess a number for all of them.
She said about 2,000.
About 2,000. Okay? So, if every one of them people fill out the paper, wait a minute, if every one of them people, wait a minute. I'm about to finish up now. Okay, if every one of them people fill out a paper for this, and it's a lot under this. This ain't just one thing. It's got about 10 other violations that's up under there or more. Okay?
We have to say it.
Then, down here, you
We
got
gotta
theft
say
and
it.
fraud.
People here can't see that. We gotta say it because people can't see that on this.
Okay, that's okay. Okay. Then there's offense against public peace. There's offense against the family. Okay, and there's victim rights. Okay, now just take that's about 10. Multiply them times 2,000. Okay, and now you take the same thing and you go over to the criminal court. And so you multiply that 2,000 times 10 is what? 20,000. So now you're going over to the criminal court and civil court. And so now you're going to multiply that 20,000 by 2. What you got? Okay. So now you got 40,000 paper bullets as opposed to 137. Okay. And you got 40,000 paper bullets targeted each 40,000 each targeted at anybody who remotely involved in this, who was in a position to do something about it and didn't do it. Okay? You just took out all your opponents with a piece of paper. With paper. Now, the Attorney General have already made the case. Oh, he did the investigation? All you had to do is get all his paperwork. Okay? The chief of police have already made the case. Because he already acknowledged on public TV, okay, that protocol was broken. Okay? The mayor have already acknowledged that. These police officers have already, what's that word when they lie on the oath? They already perjured themselves because they on here saying, I was fearful for my life. Why are they chasing somebody? Okay?
So their background, some of their backgrounds are suspect as well.
Right.
A lot of them have been up on corruption charge, excessive force.
Right.
And the one
Okay, so the case is made. The case is made. All you got to do is put the paper, not the mouth, the paper. And then you can clean up things. Now, since you did that, then the next bunch, they think about what happened to this bunch. Okay, now we got a call, somebody was following the car. Okay, we need East Cleveland to pick up here, we can't go no further. Y'all know what happened last time. We can't go no further. Okay? And then if they ain't killed nobody, it ain't a matter of life and death if they ain't killed nobody. Okay? And so then that kind of chase is not supposed to persist. But we don't study the law, we don't read the law, we remain ignorant to it. And so the law become a whip against us. Okay? But the paper, 40,000 rounds of paper. You're talking about 137. So you see 40,000 rounds of paper just pulverized careers. And I'm not the one, I hate to see them police officers because I know they got a family too. I hate to see them lose their job, but they can't get away with that. I know they got issues too, and I know there's people, family who got murdered, they got issues too. And they ain't gonna get away with that either. But they have to stop. But I say $1 million, their loved one that they lost, it'll help them get over misery. you know, $1 million of their own money. You know, knowing that this person had to pay what they did to their child, or their sister or brother, that helped them get over it. You know, we get accustomed to mourning because we keep memorializing misery instead of trying to get over it. So these things that have place to help us get over it. You know, but you got to use what you need to. This is your weapon, the paper. This is what they hit you with, right? Yep. The paper. When you speed, the paper. If you rob somebody, the paper. If you murder somebody, the paper. Okay? Because there have to be accountability and consequences. Okay? The paper. Okay? I don't have enough time to sit here and go over all of it, but I think you get the idea of the many resources that are at hand. Now, this website changes. It's here today, it might be somewhere else tomorrow. But we track it, so we find it. Okay, and when we find it, we share it. And if we share it with somebody who run their mouth, we don't share it with them no more. That's all I got. Anybody got a question or comment before I close? This has been our open forum presented by the Powerhouse and the Ultimate Advocate talk show, and you or the other